What's up guys, Hotshotfrontier back at it again with another video, and in this video guys, we're going to be doing a Handtrap tier list post Duelist Nexus. So you guys already know, it's already post Duelist Nexus, so let me go ahead and show you guys this tier list. But we have of course meta-worthy, main deck it, you have decent enough, sided in there, sided in that side deck, and you have nada. Don't even think about this format. But let's go ahead and get to the first thing, that is Droll and Lockbird. 100%. Droll's, it's kind of funny because every time Droll exits the format, I'm wondering why, because Droll is a really good card to have in the main deck, if not the side, right? And honestly, you should really consider running Crossout Designator. Reason being is that it helps protect against hand traps used against you by your opponent if you could have those hand traps in your main deck. Plus, it's insane in the mirror match because you already know what you're going to be, the combo line is for your opponent if you're playing the same deck, so you know how to really hurt them with Crossout Designator. But moving on, we have Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, and it's decent enough. I mean, there are a lot of Link monsters in the game, but I feel like more end boards are heavily like focused on like more like Synchro, XYZ, Fusion monsters at the end of it, but they are definitely going to be using links where you'll be able to slap this down. Now, I feel like most end boards end with Appaloosa, so they'll probably just negate that. But I mean, there are again a lot of like Link 1s and Link 2s in the game that are really good, especially against like Dragon Link, right? So consider doing that. Moving on, we have Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre is probably, I don't think it's meta worthy, but I want to say it's like main decker. It's decent enough. I think it's decent enough. Ghost Ogre is a really good card. You could main deck it, to be honest. I mean, hey, the adventure engine is going to be out there more rampant than before because it just got reprinted, so you really have to consider that as well. So it's better. You could main deck it, but you could also, it's decent enough. Next is Ghost Reaper. I'm gonna put that meta worthy because again, it's really good. It's insane in the mirror match, but if you can run that extra space, you should consider having it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put this for main deck it. Yeah, it's a really good, or you know what? Actually, we'll put inside. Reason being is again, because if you can afford that space, you definitely should consider having it than not having it. Because again, it's really good when your opponent has more monsters on their field than you. So if you start off, it's kind of hard to, activate the effect. Now, this is the Dreas Worm, but this is like representing all the Bestial stuff. And yeah, it's still meta. You have a lot more lights and darks in the game right now with Vanadium. So that's definitely a really good card. All right, guys, so next up we have Sneaky C, and I actually have to go ahead and look it up on TCG Player just to catch up again. So it's when your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand in face down position. And if you do during the end phase of this turn, change it to face up position. You can only use the effect of this once per turn. This card is flip face up during the end phase, destroy all special summoned monsters on the field. So it's kind of like it can get rid of a negate. But honestly, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's it. It's nada for me. We're gonna move on. This is the Cycle Reader, and you could argue, right? I'm joking, but you could argue that it's good against Vanadium, sort of. They don't play as much lights. It's not just good against Drytron, but if Drytron was like tier 1, tier 0, then yeah, definitely. But I would just say nada, unfortunately, for Cycle Reader. Ash, I don't think there's ever a format that Ash is not good in. 100% meta worthy. To be honest, it's probably above the whole Bestial engine. Like, you definitely should be running your Ashes. Like, that is like a staple. Some people side the Ashes too because there's just no room in the main deck. But if you want to get my opinion on it, definitely it's meta worthy. You should have your Ashes, guys. DD Crow. That's interesting. I would say DD Crow is decent enough, or you could probably side it in there. I'll say side it in there. I mean, it's a one target monster that can just target something and then just banish it, which is pretty nice. If you're very like patient and you let your opponent go and you target like something that they really like. If you targeted their Water Enchantress, right? That's it. They can't do that. But there are a lot of other cards for that reason to negate too. But DD Crow is really strong. Okay, don't get me wrong. But with Cashier, you kind of want to be careful too. Contact C is really good against Despia. with the fusions, and they have to go ahead and make the Guardian Chimera to out it too, which is really good. But on the other hand, Despia is not a deck where people are really worrying about it right now. Like, it's still a very strong Yu-Gi-Oh deck, but it's just not like up there in terms of meta worthy of like the top tier. So a lot of people, that's something you really want to prepare for, like the most represented decks out, right? You can't represent, like really focus on like the 1%, not Despia's not 1%, but like the smaller decks that you may face, you never know. Now we have the Saronir, I believe, and this is basically like a infinite impermanence. The only thing is you can't set it like an infinite impermanence. So yeah, I feel like it's decent enough, but I feel like at that point just play infinite impermanence, because you could set it and then that column's basically negated if you set it and you activate it in your opponent's turn. Effect failure is pretty strong. It's just like sometimes with certain cards you wish that they didn't have these restrictions, like effect failure. Why does it have to be just the main phase? But sometimes it is what it is. Ghost Spell, yeah, Ghost Spell is like between these two, to be honest with you. I'm actually gonna put meta worthy. Reason being is, again, it's good against the adventure engine. It's good against a lot of things that are activating in the graveyard. Yeah, so that's a very good Yu-Gi-Oh card. This card is actually very good against Labyrinth. Big Welcome Labyrinth. Really good. Yeah, Shifter is meta worthy. Now, I wouldn't say like you main deck it, like every deck should be main decking it, but if you can play D-Shifter in your deck, 100% do it, because until they ban it or limit it, right, you should be playing D-Shifter. It's insane. Infinite Impermanence, meta worthy. Again, has so many applications. It's a better Saronir. Activated in the hand during your opponent's turn. Show no monsters. You can set it and then stop that spell and trap card column. See your opponent's face when they forget that was the column they played that card in. So next we have this card, which I am just blanking out on the name, to be honest with you. But I will say Nada. Reason being is that I think we really want to see this card go off, but the problem is like we're expecting our opponent to only rely on like one starter. Stop this, and then it's like, all right, well, that's it. But like so many decks now have so many different plays lines where they can kind of just get to the end goal, where like this is not gonna, it's a waste of a hand trap, like a card in your hand, because it's not doing what you want it to do, unfortunately. Next up, guys, we have is the Moonlit Chill, and it's definitely a main deck. Now I feel like Infinite Perm is better overall, but in terms of having it in your hand, I believe the Moonlit Chill is better. Reason being is that, sure, Infinite Perm negates it, right? But the Moonlit Chill, and it not only negates it if your opponent takes that monster and leaves the field, which of course, most likely they're going to, right? If they want to, they're a heavy combo deck, they take that damage, and that's really good in time. So you kind of have to consider that as well. I mean, it's probably less good at like game 1, maybe game 2, but game 3 is definitely important. So it's a thing that you really have to keep in mind. Next up, guys, we have is the Skullmeister, and Skullmeister, I feel like it's a weaker ghost spell. I think it's decent enough, but you guys let me know down below if you feel like it should be a lot higher. And guys, definitely go ahead and check out my meta tier list video that I just recently did post Duelist Nexus. I'll leave a link down below. Next up, guys, we have is the Chaos Hunter, which I think you should kind of consider sliding it in that side deck. It's a really good Yu-Gi-Oh card. I feel like you go -2, and it's really bad if it gets like negated. But most of the time you're using it like early when your opponent summons immediately, you're just going to summon it out. And if they're like a heavy banished deck, then yeah, this really stops them. But a lot of the times it is worth to play. I don't think you should main deck it, but definitely consider side decking it. We have the Herald of Orange Light, and I mean, there are a lot of decks still playing it, not the meta decks, but I mean, if you are playing it, you definitely be main decking it, right? Now we have the Lancia, and Lancia, wow, we haven't seen Lancia in a while. It was more prevalent during like Kashtira format, but you really want to put it in the side. I mean, it's really between these two. I mean, okay, there's still Despia. There's still a lot of decks that, again, do banish. So you could consider side decking it. but that's after like you consider a lot of other cards as well. All right, guys. So next up we have is actually the Retaliating Seed. I'm actually gonna have to look it up just to get a refresher on it. We have during either player's turn when your opponent activates a spell card that includes an effect to special summon a monster, you summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, it's face up on the field. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, which is pretty good. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add an Earth Insect type monster with 15 or less attack from your deck. So when Maxi is off the list, there you go, right, guys? There you go. That's how you add your Maxi from your deck to your hand. But in the meantime, it's not a bad card, but I feel like, again, it's going to force decks like Despia to go ahead and get that Guardian Chimera, or a lot of decks to just use the Barone Destruction effect immediately to get rid of it so they can keep going with their plays. I guess it really depends on when you use it. So you could put side decking it, honestly. I think it's kind of experimental. I should have made an experimental tier, but it's an interesting card, and I think eventually we'll see that in play. Next we have is Token Collector, and Token Collector, I really want to say nada, but I don't know. The question really is, people playing the Adventure Engine, does that justify people playing Token Collector again? That's the question we really want to ask ourselves. And I don't think so. But then again, technically it's anti-Nibiru too. It's like in between. But for now, I'm going to leave it in nada. I feel like we need more like token-based stuff in the meta. Like, let's give Synchro format a little more time, where if like the huge synchro decks like Adventure Synchro is going off, and I know they spam tokens, maybe Token Collector would be more prevalent. Now Gamma, yeah, unfortunately Gamma's on 1, so Gamma's going there. Next we have Nibiru, and Nibiru is 100% meta worthy. I don't see this card falling off at all. I don't even see it getting banned at all or limited. For what reason? To be honest, it's a nice like medium. It's like, hey, your combo deck, do whatever you want to do. Hopefully you have the Barone 5th summon, or you have something 5th summon to stop me from doing this, to be honest. But the last thing, which I am going to read to you guys, which this is like a copium thing with me, but Red Blossoms from Underroot. So what this card does is, if this card is in your hand, you can target one spell trap card in each graveyard, banish them, and so summon this card. Now, when it's on the field, this is not a quick effect. You contribute this card, target a Fusion Synchro XYZ Link monster in either graveyard, banish that target, and special summon a monster from your graveyard with a different monster type. So, honestly, I want to say that this is decent enough. Now, a lot of people would just say nada, but I think with how the format is, you can banish something that's different in your opponent's graveyard and summon something out that you want to like recycle off again and use for something bigger. Now, it's a niche effect, and I wish it was like a quick play, but unfortunately it's not. It has to be during your turn, but also it's more of like a turn 2 type of thing. It's not during like the first player's rounds. It's more of like, okay, establish board, like it's like a card that helps you recover kind of thing. So you definitely don't cite it. I don't think it's nada. I'm going to put it decent enough, but you guys let me know down below, how do you feel about this card? Do you feel like it should be lower? But guys, looks like that is our Handtrap tier list post Duelist Nexus. If you guys like the video, make sure you give it a huge like. Comment down below, do you agree with our picks? Do we miss a card? Or do you disagree with our picks? Curious to see your comments down below. But guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you are notified the moment I upload new videos. But guys, that's it for me. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.